So what is the rationale for training? Why does the Monsignor think that this is important to have training for the priests in this diocese? And certainly it's going to improve communication during Mass, as well as any interactions you might have in the church. It's going to enhance your rapport. It's going to improve your productivity. And how do I mean that? If you're asking somebody, even the administrative assistant in the office, to do something for you, and you're asking them, and they're not really understanding you, or they're misunderstanding you, all of a sudden you're not as efficient as you could be. So if you know ways to communicate effectively, everybody's going to be more productive. And I'm guessing that you feel better about yourself and more confident if you know you're getting up there and people are understanding you. So you know from yesterday or from before that I am a speech and language pathologist by training. And just to give you a little background that I didn't talk about yesterday, is as a speech and language pathologist, I work with communication problems, voice problems, language problems. More people have difficulty communicating because of what we call a disorder. And then I became interested in people who had communication issues, not because of any disorder, but because they're speaking English as a second language. But my knowledge on how to pronounce things correctly and how to work with communication and the public speaking piece made a very good fit for helping people who are speaking English as a second language. Our focus today will be even more on pronunciation, working on the pronunciation of the V, the W, and the H. How many people here think they have difficulty with V's and W's? Okay, and V for almost everybody, but V and W, especially those of you from India, that's a big challenge. For those of you, which do you think is tougher, the V or the W?
V.
That's what I think. But sometimes you take the W and you make it a V, like a V, in several ways.
Especially when it comes together, for example, vine and wine.
Mm-hmm.
We have a prayer in the fruit of the vine. We offer the wine, the fruit of the vine, and it comes together. We don't take time to say,
Absolutely. But those are perfect times, and I've worked with a lot of you on the Eucharistic prayers.
Yeah.
I'm working on that and taking them, printing them out, and highlighting all those V's and W's. So when you look at it, it's like, okay, want fruit of the vine, and take the wine. And if you highlight it, then you become more aware. So then when you go read the prayer during a Mass, it's become more automatic because you've made yourself much more aware of it. And then we're going to talk about the intonation, because any of you who've worked with me know that I think it's so much more important, the stress patterns. And just like I said to you even when I tried to speak Greek, the stress patterns will definitely throw people off, and that's where you can have an excellent mastery of English. But if the stress is off, people may not get the word that you say, just because that little bit of a difference. So with the intonation, we'll talk a little bit about the compound and the proper nouns, because I think those come up so much. We're going to talk about syllable stress. That is the toughest. Another part is linking words together. When we talk, sometimes we try to be so precise that we lose the fluency in the message. And then we talked a little bit about this yesterday, so it happens even with native English speakers. But it gets very choppy. And so you need to learn how to let the words flow together, like I'm doing now, because that's how American speakers talk.